segment?
Okay, I started.
All right, so remind us what we did Thursday.
Okay, if you were a four competitive sports, you would look on your pros and you would tally all of our pros.
So you looked at all of your evidence and you figured out what reasons it fit in. Okay, so that's what the three of you did on Thursday, right? And what reasons did you come up with to support your claim that competitive sports should be allowed and encouraged? What were your reasons that you came up with, Cole?
Well, one of our reasons is that it has certain health benefits. One of the main ones to prevent obesity.
Okay, so health is a reason. What's your second reason?
Our second reason is it teaches kids personal and interpersonal life skills.
Okay, and the third one, Abby?
Is any kind of safety precaution. Like it's less.
Like safety precautions are made, so injuries
There's
don't happen.
helmets.
So there are safety precautions in place to help kids be safe.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. So they sorted their evidence and figured out what reasons made the most sense to support their claim, right? Okay, raise your hand if your group got that far. You are in the middle or you have finished sorting evidence into different reasons. Awesome. What comes next? Next is step number 2. You have to rank your evidence. How many pieces of evidence did you have to support health? Do you remember?
Like 3 or 4.
3 or 4. So how many pieces of evidence do we want to support each reason? How much is enough? How much is not? What do you think the right number is for evidence? 5 maybe? I think 4 or 5 is probably good. So we want 4 or 5 pieces of evidence to support each reason, correct? So what do you have so far about health? Look through your lists. You have one written here. Physically active kids have more focus or better problem solvers and overall score higher on tests. Okay, do you think that's pretty strong evidence? Okay, let's look at our questions. Does it match the point of health being a reason?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. How hard is it to argue against?
Not very. It's kind of hard. Not really.
Is it easy to argue against or hard to argue against?
Easy, but it's sort of hard.
Active kids have more focus, they're better problem solvers, and overall have higher test scores.
Especially with that
Sure, it's a variety of information. Is that compelling evidence?
Yeah.
This is evidence that really is positive, right? It's going in the right direction. These are all very positive things. Yeah, we want kids to be physically active. We want kids to be good problem solvers, and we want them to score well on tests. So, hey, these are all really good things. We want this. So I think this is a really strong piece of evidence. What else do you have on health?
I'm sorry. I was going to say that's not with health. That's
What is it? You have it under health.
This is personal and interpersonal life skills.
We're going to keep it on health. Okay, personal life skills, sorry. I thought you put health first. Why'd you put physical life skills first?
Because it's
Okay,
it got messed up.
so could I put it under health too?
Yeah.
But does it make sense for personal, interpersonal life skills?
Yep.
Okay, it'll do. Beautiful. Now you're working on health and then you're working on this. Okay, so they're ranking evidence. They're figuring out of all of the evidence they have about personal and interpersonal life skills, which makes the most sense? Which is the best? What's the strongest evidence that they have that they can put here? That's what task they're doing now, okay? Pretend we're on a cooking show, we just put it in the oven, 10 seconds later it comes out all done, okay? It's all about food, Emily, come on. So, after taking time to sort through and develop those reasons, to rank all of the evidence and make sure they have 4 or 5 really solid, good pieces of evidence, next comes that counterclaim piece, okay? So what they're gonna do, because they're on the pro side, they're in favor of competitive sports, now they need to look through the con side. So look through your evidence that you wrote down for the con side and see which of these 3 reasons would the other side maybe argue the most about? Would they argue the most about safety precautions? Would they argue the most about interpersonal and life skills? Would they argue most about health? Somebody who's against competitive sports, what argument do you think would they bring up?
The safety
Maybe the safety. Roland, what do you think?
I thought safety too.
Okay, so let's look through our notes on safety. Do you have anything in your con list about how unsafe sports are? Take a look, find that, put a circle around it. Maybe it has to do with injuries, maybe it has to do with all this reports on concussions. Cole, do you have anything that really gets to the safety precautions and why kids shouldn't be doing sports because of safety issues?
Not on this personal page.
Okay. All right, Abby, what did you find?
I had in 2010 10,759 head injuries resulted in the emergency room.
Okay, what else?
3.5 million kids under 15 need medical treatment. Half of them are overused.
Oh, so we have head injuries, we have overuse with sports. What else?
I have teams that die after playing too soon after concussion.
Ooh, death. Uh-huh. Death is kind of a big deal, right?
Yeah, like a little bit.
I think so.
Yeah, sort of. Ow.
So there's the CTE stuff, Mason, I heard you say? Yeah, that's the diagnosis they're making of people who have had too many concussions.
Yeah, like running backs in football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's leading to memory loss and a lot of other neurological problems.
If you watch that one video, there was like this kid got got hit like 4 times in one game in the head.
3.
Like 3 times.
Yeah, and those were some pretty brutal hits, weren't they?
I saw kids kickboxing.
Okay, put it back in the oven, pull it out. So which of these are we gonna focus on? Which of these do you think the con side would say, hey, here's a major issue with why kids should not be participating in competitive sports?
Oh, kids are dying.
So, okay, so teens have come back from a concussion and they played sports too soon, some of whom have died as a result of it. Okay, so if we say our most powerful claim, teens have died after coming back to play too soon. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so the other side of the argument is going to say, here's a major issue. Here is why kids should not be involved in competitive sports, correct? Now we need to come up with our own counterclaim. We need to come up with our, yes, they're going to tell us this, but our side is better because, in fact, what? Now we go back to the pro list. Now we go back to the evidence that supports our own claim and says, here's why our side is better. Look at your pros. What do you have within your existing evidence that could counteract or counteroffer or one up or better this claim? Ciano, your hand's up. What do you think?
It helps prevent obesity.
Okay, so I'm going to say, hey, the other side of this argument says that kids come back from sports too soon after having a concussion, they're at the risk of dying. And you're going to say, yeah, but sports is good because you don't want to be obese.
But obesity
It's a good point, but are those linked really closely?
Obesity.
No, what do you think, CJ?
I know I did write it down because I didn't, and that was a bad idea.
So you're going to go back and find it, but what's on your mind?
I read about they're coming out with helmets to sense if a concussion happens.
They already came out with like bike helmets.
Abby?
This has to do with Ciano said if you wanted to say, kind of defend with obesity, you could say, well, some people die from being so overweight.
Oh, sure. So what you're saying, Abby, is, I'll get to you, Adam, don't hold that thought. Okay, so I like your point. I see where you're going. Kids die if they come back too soon after a concussion. Yeah, but kids die from obesity, and it's more important to have them actively involved in competitive sports because obesity is a bigger issue than death after a concussion.
You don't have to play sports.
You could find statistics of that.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be so involved where you're
Yeah.
Injuries, and then so.
Absolutely. Adam, what are you thinking?
Sure, competitive sports might prevent obesity, but it's not the only way. You could exercise.
Oh, you
In a less
sounded,
dangerous
you're on the con side here, aren't you?
Me,
So what Adam's doing, in this discussion, and this is something that you need to do with your group as you're going through this process. Okay, teens are dying, concussions, bad news. Oh, but obesity's worse. Wait a minute, obesity can be prevented in other ways than just competitive sports. So what Adam's doing is kind of going through some of these questions and saying, well, how hard is this to argue against? Is he able to argue against that pretty easily? Absolutely. So is that going to be my best counter argument? No, because if he's going to find a hole in it or find a flaw with that information, it's not foolproof. It's not going to be my best evidence that I could support. Okay? I know we could keep discussing, but I want you to have some time to get to work on this too. So to recap, we're sorting and ranking, sorting our evidence, figuring out what are my categories, what are my reasons that I can plug into this document. Now, what is my evidence that's best going to support it, and where can I put in that counterclaim? Okay, the counterclaim doesn't have to be with reason number 1. It could be with reason number 2, it could be with reason number 3, but I want to start to think about what's the opposition going to say that I can then counter argue against. Does that make sense? Okay, did this help? Go through this process a little bit? Okay, all right, so our plan then is to do these things. Continue with your group, working on sorting your evidence, ranking your evidence, looking towards that counterclaim. All right, I'll be around to spot check and give you a hand. Off you go.
Should I stop the video?
Yes.
Okay.